Why are we not boycotting Cantarella so that it signals to us that we do not encourage this quality of life upgrades locked behind limited 5-star? Why is it hypocritical to pull for Castris but not for Cantarella? And sure, you can fly, right? But it's not guaranteed that you can fly in every single region.
Listen, I was not planning to get involved, even though you guys have been asking me to talk about this for several days. Honestly, I could care less about this whole situation. This is from a completely different game, but today, y'all send me this clip, and I just want to say, as a Wuthering Waves player, but also a real motherfucker, I want to make sure I get my 2 cents out there and give you my opinion regarding a little bit of this issue going on and how it's filtering into a whole bunch of other things, including Wuthering Waves. Y'all know I'm not one to go out there and sprinkle my thoughts and shit into all these other games and their drama like Genshin, ZZZ, and Honkai. I could care less. That's them. I'm not saying Tauntus. I stay in my lane regarding Wuthering Waves. But today, I really want to talk about it, not just because of the clip you just saw, because it's not in full context, and we are going to take a look at the entirety of what MrPokke's said, but also because I want to give my advice to some of these creators, MrPokke included, and just speak my mind regarding this whole issue regarding Castris, I guess Cantarella, and Gacha games as a whole. So let's hop right in.
How could you have lost because of me if I wasn't even there?
That's why it's your fault, you fuckface.
Who cares?
Everybody cared. Everybody.
Alright, yeah, whatever.
MrPokke, Tectone, if you're watching this video, I just gotta say one thing. Let's all 3 of us get together and let's fuck.
Great video. Yo, Skull CJ, let's have sex.
Alright, so here's the clip you guys sent me yesterday, and I'm supposed to react to the whole clip, but I don't really know what's all going on. I don't know everything that's happened. I know there was like a big podcast with a bunch of people talking about this, a bunch of stuff on Twitter, and I don't really get involved with all that shit. I think it's some Karen type behavior, but today we're going to talk about it. You know, I seen you guys really interested in my takes, and they did bring up Wuthering Waves, right? I might not play a lot of these other games, but I do play Wuthering Waves, and there are some things that I want to say, and I will say, I have played Genshin. I have quite a bit of content on Genshin Impact on my channel. I liked Genshin. I thought it was a really fun game while I was playing it. I played Honkai Star Rail, and I also enjoyed the game. I don't play neither of those 2 games anymore, but I did enjoy my time with them, and I don't play Zenless Zone Zero because I just never liked it. Overall, I just want to say, I'm not a KURO bot, I'm not a Hoyo shill, I'm just a gacha gamer, and eventually, whether it's Wuthering Waves, Genshin Impact, or Honkai Star Rail, all of those games will be left behind and we'll find another game to play. So, I'm not looking at this from the point of view of a specific fan of one of these games, nor am I looking at it from a fan of any of these YouTubers. I just want to get my 2 cents out there and talk about some of these things because I do watch some of these people. I do get involved a little bit with their communities and what they talking about, but I have my own opinions and my own thoughts regarding this whole issue. So let's see what MrPokke has to say because I'm quite intrigued, especially regarding the whole Cantarella and Wuthering Waves being mentioned regarding the whole Castris and Honkai Star Rail situation. So let's see.
And this brings me to the real hypocrisy, right? Because it kind of stems to the point of, you know, being hypocritical, you know, you're being a hypocrite if you pull and you don't support it. So this is what I feel is going to be the real hypocrisy. And I fucking hate comparing gacha games and the tribalism and the politics and everything because I believe that everyone has a right to play their own games.
I agree with that. Everybody has the right to play whatever the hell you want to play. You want to play Woo-Wah, play Woo-Wah. You want to play Love and Deep Space, play Love and Deep Space. You want to play Furry Lovers 3, play Furry Lovers 3. I could care less what you play or what you do with your time and your money. I agree with Pokke on that.
You want to enjoy your own games, right? You don't need to put other people down to enjoy your own games. But
Agreed.
since we are already at this current point, then let's have at it, right?
Okay.
I will now basically point out the elephant in the room. If you pull for a broken unit in a gacha game, are you supporting a predatory practice? Because a broken unit basically breaks the game balance, right?
Okay, so if you pull for a broken unit, are you supporting predatory practices? Let's be honest. The moment we start playing gachas, the moment we start spending on gachas, we're already supporting predatory practices because the whole thing with gacha games is generating FOMO, generating people getting cracked out on these things, on these characters, on power creep, yada, yada, yada. So from that point of view, simply playing gacha games is already supporting predatory practices. But Is supporting broken characters the same thing as supporting predatory practices? That's a tough one, right? These developers are already making millions, right? They're already making a lot of money. So they're always going to look for ways to make more money and milk their player base even more. Now, is pulling the character supporting the devs? I don't see it that way personally, because some people might just pull the character because they like the way that the character looks. It's that simple. At least for me personally, I always go for looks first before I look into a character's kit. Now, if I see a character being teased, which in this cases they drip market us the characters before we know their kits, and then we find out that the character has a broken mechanic, a mechanic that completely changes the landscape of the game, is my mind going to change on pulling that character? I'm gonna be honest with you. Probably not. I already wanted to get the character before I heard it was broken, and now that I heard it's broken, why would I be like, oh no, I don't want to pull for it? That's not gonna happen. Now, I will say that if I find myself, whether I am a content creator or a regular player, seeing that developers are doing something that is very toxic regarding the game, something that is completely going to change progression in the landscape of regular players when you compare them to other players, I might speak out on it. As a content creator, I will call them out. I will call, the bullshit out. I will call them for being predatory and for trying to milk their player base even more. And that's about it. But I'm still going to get the character if I'm liking the game and enjoying my time. Now, would I consider maybe not spending money? Yes. I would probably not spend money on that particular character to let them know that, hey, I'm not really messing with the whole fact that you guys are deciding to go this particular route. But I would still probably get the character because I already wanted to get the character. That's just me, personally.
They come with shiny new FOMO-inducing mechanics. Heck, I already have a comment. I literally have a comment saying that I need to skip a Nexa. Right? Hold up. Let me pull this up. I already have a comment that says I need to skip a Nexa as well if you are genuine to yourself and your audience. All right? So should I just, or not just I, should we all skip every single strong unit in the gacha game or anything that has any quality of life? Because if you want to be, straight about it.
So hold on, I just want to point this out before we move on to the next topic. He said that someone's already telling him to skip the next unit. I don't even know what the hell the next unit's going to do. It's probably another cracked out unit. But here's where I feel that the lines get blurred of you being a gamer, a player that enjoys the game and plays the game a lot, to being held at a higher standard as the spokesperson responsible in face of the game. Sometimes you just want to be a dude that plays the games and enjoys the game, and you grow, you become successful, and you end up being in a position where, your voice is louder than most. You're heard a lot more than other people. But that doesn't mean that you stopped being a gamer. So the fact that you're playing the game and people, the masses are not happy with something and they're trying to hold you accountable and have you speak for them and act for them, even though you don't want to, I don't think that's fair. I don't think that's right. Now, I don't know what MrPokke's entire stance are on Casterus, but I do know that if he, for example, feels that he wants to pull the character anyway, you guys can't be out here telling him that he's a piece of shit, that he's gonna die, that all of these horrible things simply because he wants to get his character. Now, if he's still not speaking out on the predatory aspect of things, if he's sugarcoating it or making it seem like it's not something that's really bad, I could see why people can get mad. But the fact that they're already telling him to skip out on future characters pretty much means, yo, just don't play the game. And if he wants to play the game, y'all are just mad because he's not doing something that you guys want him to do, right? He's doing what he wants. And in all honesty, I'm gonna be real with y'all. If I have a specific thought regarding something, and I'm not agreeing with MrPokke because, like I said, I haven't even heard what he has to say. I don't even know what his stance are entirely on Casterus, but I'm just talking about me. If my stance regarding something are a certain way, I don't give a damn if the Pope himself, if the President of the United States, or Jesus and Gandhi himself come from the sky and do a backflip and land on their hands and beg me to change my mind. If my mind is made up and I feel a certain way about something, I'ma do what I want to do. I'ma speak out how I want to speak out, and I ain't going line with nobody else's thoughts simply because they want me to. I'ma stay true to what I feel, and that just is what it is. So let's see what else he got to say.
It is alienating the player base that don't pull for these units in a fucking gacha game, right? Let's talk about Canderella, right? Canderella has a swimming thing, which I think we've also talked about it. It doesn't fucking matter because it's swim, right? Nobody really swims in water waves. They fly and everything. So it doesn't really represent anything that much because it's not that big of a deal.
Okay, so Cantarella swimming is not a big deal. 100% agree. Not only do I have Cantarella, I have Cantarella at max dupes. Max dupes, max duped weapon, all of it. I put my balls deep inside Cantarella as well as the wallet, and I gotta say, listen, ain't nobody give a shit about swimming. You might think swimming is a quality. It ain't. Ain't nobody swimming. It don't matter who it is. It don't matter what you think you're gonna be doing. You ain't swimming with Cantarella. And I don't care how many people in the comment section say, I've swam more with Cantarella. You're talking shit. You're full of shit, and you just want to talk some shit in the comments to have your voice be heard or have people think that what you're saying. You ain't swimming, bruh. You ain't swimming ever. It don't matter. Well, I've actually swam more with Cantarella ever since I got her. Yeah, before you never swum. Now you swim 2 seconds every 3 weeks. Yup, you're definitely swimming a lot more. Ain't nobody swimming, bro. It doesn't even matter. It doesn't even matter, bro. It doesn't even matter if there is no flight in 1.0 areas now or ever. You're not swimming, bro. Let me show y'all. Now, let's go back to the video.
Right? But doesn't that also set a precedent for more potential limiting quality of life features in water waves?
Okay, I could see where he's going. Hey, they gave this character swimming. Aren't they going to give other characters something that is an insane quality of life? Well, the reality of it is, ladies and gentlemen, that the quality of life that KURO is implementing via these characters isn't 100% game-breaking, nor necessary, or impactful to a degree right now, or maybe ever, where if you don't have the characters, your account is absolutely different from someone else's. You don't have Cantarella, right? Wow. You don't have a character that can swim a little faster. You ain't swimming anyway. Phoebe is really good because she flies further than any other character, and it's really good for 1.0 exploration. You still don't need it. Yes, it's faster. Yes, it helps. You don't need it. There is flight, and even when there's no flight, it's not that big of a deal. Should you pull a character because they can fly a little bit faster or run a little bit faster, is that an entire reason to really pull a character? I don't think so. I don't think that's such a big quality of life improvement. And as a person that has Shorekeeper, that has the butterfly thing that lets you move a little faster, that has Phoebe, a character that lets you fly, I guess, a little faster, even when you don't have flight, like in 1.0 areas, as a person that has Cantarella, a character that allows you to swim faster, you never really find yourself using those things. Not to the degree you think. You just, bro, I haven't used Phoebe in like 2 weeks. She's just there. You know what I mean? So it's not really that impactful. Now, could they in the future add an insane quality of life that just changes everything? They could, 100%. All these gacha games are scummy bastards. But when that happens, we'll cross that bridge when we get there.
Behind limited 5-star. Who would to say that there wouldn't be more quality of life in Water Waves? Canada is just the beginning, right? Just like how Castle is just the beginning. So why are we setting this precedent that if you want to pull for Castle, you're basically supporting this predatory practice? Why are we not boycotting Canterella so that it signals to us that we do not encourage this quality of life upgrades locked behind limited 5-star?
Okay, so I think that here's where you guys got so mad about what MrPokke's is saying. First off, from my understanding, right, we're comparing Cantarella's ability to swim a little faster, that one, doesn't change the overall aspect of the game, doesn't really make the game in itself easier because nobody gives a shit about swimming. Swimming doesn't allow you to beat stages faster. Swimming doesn't really do anything that's impactful in the game whatsoever, and you don't even ever need to swim. So kind of weird, and we're comparing that to what I'm understanding is Casterus, a character whose global passive will instantly change a character's or a player's account, which will give you an ability to last longer in stages and get things done a lot faster and a lot easier in pretty much every game mode of the game. We're comparing apples to oranges, very different things. One thing, it's almost irrelevant in the benefit that it gives you, which is Cantarella. And the other thing will instantly make an account superior to another. Will make the game much easier than another. So I think it's a very different scenario. I could see where he's going to, you know, both things in itself are improvements to an account, but we're talking about like a 0.1% improvement to like a 50 to 100% improvement to accounts.
Why is it hypocritical to pull for Casterus but not for Cantarella? And sure, you can fly, right? But it's not guaranteed that you can fly in every single region. If we can hypothetically doom post over a possible future passive, a future global passive, surely we can also doom post how flying might just be locked in our version 2 region. That we can't fly in version 3, right?
Okay, we can't fly in version 3. That would not really help with like, you're not fucking replacing flight with fucking swimming, bruh. Like, if we're gonna talk about that, let's talk about Phoebe, not Cantarella. I understand your argument, structure it a little better. Talk about Phoebe. Phoebe does help you traverse the map a lot faster, so let's talk about that. It's still the same gist. Cantarella, Phoebe don't matter, but once again, you're just moving a little faster through the map, where the other one gives you a pretty damn insane, from my understanding, ability on your entire account. Think about it like this. Think about if you pulled a character on Withering Waves, right? And the character had an ability, Shorekeeper, to increase crit rate and crit damage. But you pull that character, and now every character on your roster, even without using Shorekeeper, would have that buff active. Just for pull. That's crazy. Everybody else that would join the game that wouldn't have Shorekeeper would have a inferior account. You would need to pull that unit. Right? That unit, even if you can beat all the content without it, literally changes everything for you. That's not Phoebe. That's not Cantarella. But that is Casterus. Just keep that in mind.
Or what's gonna? Are we gonna have more and more paid win exploration units that will be locked behind limited 5 stars? Is this not also just as bad, if not worse, than global passive?
So you're saying that being able to run around the little map faster, or swim a little faster, is worse, your own words, than literally making the game easier for you. Literally making the hard aspects of the game, clearing dungeons, clearing tower, clearing all the endgame modes, easier. Running around or swimming faster versus beating the endgame content easier and faster. Is that what we're comparing right here? And you're saying that exploration in this case is worse?
And aside from Cantarella, right, aside from the quality of life, what about the blatant quality of life upgrades in the units, specifically their dupes? Isn't intentionally locking interrupt resist? Because I believe that you guys that play Withering Waves, interrupt resist is a pretty important thing, because when the enemies hit you, it completely resets your attack animation. There has been a lot of units that has interrupt resist in.
Shangli is one of them, and when she came out and I saw that interrupt was a thing that could happen to her when she was doing her attacks, I was a little upset when I found out it was on her first dupe. It was kind of annoying. I don't mind increases to damage on, you know, constellations, but I don't like the fact that, you know, mechanics for the character to improve their gameplay is locked behind constellations. I will give him that. That is kind of scummy. That is kind of shitty. It is a problem. Can you beat content without them? 100%. But that in particular is a thing that is kind of annoying. But pretty much every gacha game has that. I'm sure Honkai Star Rail has it. Genshin has that, where certain constellations will make characters play completely different. This is going to be very retro for those of you that played Genshin. But I remember Child, when he came out, he would have his mode where he pulled out the water daggers, right? And it would run out. But if you got his dupes, I don't remember if it was the last dupe, sixth dupe or whatever, you would pretty much always be in the game mode where you would have his daggers out. You would almost never run out of it, and you wouldn't even have to use the bow. So it pretty much changed his gameplay entirely, and that was like the last constellation. Whereas in here, at least it's the first constellation for these characters, right? It's still shitty, but not as bad as some of these other games out there.
Yeah, Resonance Chain 1, right? Making your basic combo or skill a lot easier to, interrupt. And now that you get this Resonance Chain, you don't have it. You have a quality of life upgrade. Isn't that also a predatory practice? Because you lock behind such a good KURO behind unit that pretty much doesn't feel good to play. Why should I be spending, what, 200-300 USD just to make a unit that I play feel good, right? I'm talking about like Chang-Li, Camellia, Rosia, even to a certain extent Candervilla. So why are we enabling KURO games for these predatory practices since both recent and upcoming units have all of these inter-resists in their first dupe?
Okay, so let me explain to you why it is that even though it's scummy, and I agree with you on that, it's a very different situation from that of Castoris. First off, Castoris is a character that's going to give you a passive for your entire account. Meaning that even if you don't like Castoris, you can pull her and she'll give you a buff in your account. Meaning that when you play with the characters that you do like, when you play with the team that you really enjoy playing with, you'll still have a buff. So you can get this character and already make all your other teams better because of the global passive, right? When it comes to what you said about Shang-Li and these characters, it only affects that one character. If you don't like Shang-Li, you don't get her. You don't even have to bother with that first constellation that makes it so she doesn't get interrupted. And the same goes for every single one of these other characters. Their benefits through their constellation only affects them. If you don't get the unit, you don't even have to bother with it. It doesn't affect your overall account. It doesn't improve or make your account worse. It simply affects that one character, whereas Castoris affects your entire account. It's a very different scenario. There are similarities, and we're not enabling, bro. We all know these gacha games and these gacha companies are some scummy bastards trying to take our money. It is what it is. We know that. Right, Mr. Poke? We know that, brother, but it's a very different situation, bro. It's a very different situation when it comes to these characters, and the reason that I wanted to get this whole reaction to this out there is because I feel that it's getting a little messy and it's going into other topics right now, right? Look, I get where you're coming from, Mr. Pokey, and now we reacted to the little clip, and I just want to go a cappella and talk a little bit about how I feel. First off, I don't want you to think, I doubt you're even going to watch this video, right? Because you probably think everybody's out to get you, and I'm going to be honest with you. I have no problem with you. I just want to tell you a couple of things, and if anybody out there is a fan of Mr. Pokey, maybe you guys can clip what I'm about to say and send it to him. Maybe he'll watch the entire video. First off, I'm gonna be honest. I think that nobody should be getting shamed or held responsible for what they do in the game. We might, some of us, not me, I'm a little nobody, but some of us become the faces of these games, become the voices of the masses. A lot of people want to see that we say and think like them because we've gotten so big with these games, but at the end of the day, a lot of us are still gamers, bro. I hear a lot of creators often saying, yo, Mr. Pokey's always playing Star Rail. All he does is play and stream Star Rail, Star Rail, Star Rail. Maybe he's just a dude that likes playing these games. So some of you guys don't necessarily have to hold him at gunpoint because he's going to pull a character, whether it's because he wants to make content for his channel or simply because he wants to get the character because it looks good or is very strong or whatever. Now, I will say this. Mr. Pokey, if you're someone that cares for your community and cares for the game, you should acknowledge the fact that this whole global passive situation is not good, right? You compared it to a lot of other things, but I think you're just looking for ways to appeal to the community, to find people that agree with you. But in all reality, they're very different comparisons, right? the Caster's global passive is something that is absolutely insane. In the future, they can add damage buffs. They can add things that overall just make the game so much easier. Whereas if you don't pull some of these units, your account could be bricked, or you're just so far behind that your account is useless. Maybe not. But if you want to pull for the character, go ahead and pull for the character. I think it's fine. If you in your head think a certain way, just because 3,000, 5,000, 50,000, 100,000 other people think the opposite of you, don't change your mind. Be you. Follow what you want. Get the characters because you want. Do what you want. But at the same time, try to listen to your community and hear where they're coming from. If they think something's wrong, see where they're coming from and try to understand them. In my opinion, I do think the global passive is a little shit. Personally, I do think it's a little shit. I do think it's a little bit much. But I still would pull Casterus if I wanted to pull Casterus. And I don't care who gets mad. The Pope, my mother, the president can get mad. I don't give a shit. I'll still pull the character if I want to pull the character. And if somebody out there wants to be mad at me for doing that, hey, that's them. If a fellow friend, content creator, or anything out there wants to fight with me over it, and they want to hate me because of something so trivial, maybe their relationship wasn't as real as you thought. You know what I mean? Maybe that's a whole thing. You just got to think about that for a second. But I will say, Mr. Pokey, the main reason the community is the way it is with you right now is not just because of the Casterus passive. It's because you're really damn good. You're very good at stirring the pot, my brother. You're very good at riling people up and getting them going. You're very good at poking at people and pressing their buttons. You know how to do that. You know how to troll. I give you that. You're great at that, brother. And you know you are. So you go out there, you press people's buttons, you get them riled up, you get them going, and sometimes you deal with the heat perfectly. You brush it off your shoulder, but other times, maybe like this time, it gets a little bit more personal. It goes a little further than you wanted it to go, and that's when shit hits the fan. And brother, in all honesty, I just gotta say, don't extend into other communities. Don't start out here attacking, KURO and Withering Waves, because then you're going to have the Withering Waves people coming at you. Don't attack the, Genshin or ZZZ or any of these other games, because then their people are going to come at you. This is just very messy. Personally, I just got to say this. I don't think this whole global passive is a reason to end friendships. I don't think this whole global passive is a reason to be fighting with other CCs. I heard that you and Tectone ain't talking anymore. I don't really know the ins and outs. If you guys are just, playing the whole con where you guys are letting everybody know that you guys are arguing, the drama farming, and then you're going to be cool in a week, that's great. You guys are masters at it. But if you guys are really mad, I just want to say don't. Don't be mad at each other, bro. It ain't worth it. You guys are arguing, ruining a friendship, and all this shit over a video game that in 2-3 months we might not even be playing. We might be playing something else. And even if we are playing the game, it's still just a fucking video game, bro. Nobody's hurting nobody's pocket. Let's move away from that. The drama's good. It makes good money. You got people out here making, reactions to this shit that have nothing to do with it, because it does get good money. But at the end of the day, ladies and gentlemen, it ain't worth to ruin any friendship. So, Mr. Pokey, Tectone, if you're watching this video, I just gotta say one thing. Let's all three of us get together and let's fuck. Love you guys. I'll see you guys on the next one.
Great video. Yo, Skull CJ, let's have sex.